Trayce Jackson-Davis is back, and he's here to change the series in the Warriors versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. So let's roll the tape on Game 2 and discuss exactly what his impact can be. This first clip right here, I think, really tells us a lot about Trayce Jackson-Davis. He's coming up the floor, and it's a little bit earlier in the game, and he's going to set a screen right here for Draymond Green. There's not many people on the Warriors who can set a big-to-big screen with Draymond Green. It's pretty much just Trayce Jackson-Davis or Quinton Post. And Quinton Post has essentially been extricated from the lineup just because of his inability to play on the defensive end. But as you're going to see here, Trayce Jackson-Davis, he's a little bit of a different guy. Watch this screen and roll right here. Trayce Jackson-Davis is able to get right behind the defense. And notice, no Rudy Gobert here means no rim protection. And Donte DiVincenzo does basically a very poor job of trying to contest him at the rim. And Naz Reid, he's not that rim protector that you'd expect. And TJD probably isn't on the Minnesota Timberwolves scouting report, and so they don't really know exactly what he's going to do. And that's why he can potentially be an X factor in this game number 3 tonight. Let's look at the next play right here. Anthony Edwards really gets deep into the Warriors defense, but TJD doesn't have to second guess himself versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like that really caught him off guard and caused him to foul a lot during the season. But here he knows, if Rudy Gobert manages to score all the time and beats us with 25, 30 points, that's okay. But I'm not going to let Anthony Edwards do that. And so he goes up and contests Anthony Edwards at the rim. And this is actually one of the plays where Anthony Edwards unfortunately hurts himself a little bit, although he did come back later in the game. But that ability to contest above the rim is something the Warriors don't have without TJD. Everyone else is ground bound, and it really hurts the Warriors. But right here, you're going to see another play where he's able to work with Jimmy Butler. And I think this is an action you'll see a lot, so I really want you guys to pay attention. Look at TJD set this nice screen onto the Minnesota Timberwolves, and look at him get into this no man's land, so to say, for the Minnesota Timberwolves in the area right behind Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has to come out and contest Jimmy Butler. He knows how big of an offensive threat he is under the three-point line, so he's going to have to hug up. And TJD sets a nice enough screen to where McDaniels is lagging behind. He's not able to get right back into the play. And so this leads to a great over-the-top pass for TJD, who can get up and finish it. And just look how fast he goes from the ground all the way to the rim. It takes like basically 0.1 seconds, it feels like. And his ability to get right off the ground is going to be super important in this next Game 3. Right here, we're going to see TJD all the way up at the three-point line. And Naz Reid and Minnesota Timberwolves are a poor team in terms of attention to detail and in terms of boxing out. Right here, Naz Reid pretty much ignores TJD and doesn't box him out at all, which allows TJD to get the rebound, and he's going to go right back up and finish at the rim. And I think this is something TJD's worked on, and I really have to give him credit being on the bench, not having a lot of minutes. He's worked on his finishing clearly, because he had a couple of tough finishes this game, which you'll continue to see as we look through the film. And that's really, I think, going to be the big difference to him getting 5 minutes or never really playing to really getting big minutes. Right here, one of Jonathan Kuminga's only missed shots. He misses it, but TJD is able to get the ball and kind of put it right back in. And once again, you see the poor rebounding ability of the Minnesota Timberwolves versus somebody like TJD, because they don't find a man and get into them for the rebound. Instead, they just try and get the rebound without actually touching anybody up, so to say. Right here, we have transition, which TJD is just a mismatch in transition, and that's this ability to finish that we're talking about right there. Regular season TJD, when he played every game earlier in the season, he wasn't finishing that. He wasn't going to make that shot. Right there, that's an and one for TJD, and that's something we didn't see in the regular season. I think overall, TJD has a huge place in this series, and this man's going to be tired, I think, after Game 3, because he's definitely going to get 20 minutes and be an impactful scorer at the rim with at least 10 plus points, and also I hope 1 or 2 blocks as well on players like Anthony Edwards to dissuade them from getting into the rim. I think a lot of this game revolves around TJD playing well, so if you guys like this type of content about lesser known Warriors players like TJD, please feel free to like and subscribe for more just like this. Thank you for watching.